Well, hello, everyone.
Hey, it has been a hot second since we have gone live, and we are trying to remember how to do all of the things. And I am vamping while Joe makes sure that the microphones work, because we know the board works, because we can hear the audio on the tube of views. If you're live, say hi or pumpernickel. That's a pretty fun word.
I was trying to comment in the thing. What does that say? Sign into chat?
Oh, yeah, sign into chat. You might not even be signed into the chat. Oh, no. I'll pull it up on my phone. We'll get it.
Well, I don't know what that means. Apparently it updated since we last did it.
Surprise, surprise. Hey, they can't see us.
They cannot see us. Correct.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Craft Parenting Podcast. The podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a parenting problem. And as we are working through these technical issues and just making sure we're checking everything, because we did an entire live episode before and it didn't have sound, apparently. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
That was bad.
Yeah. And
that was totally my fault, too. I won't get into that too much. But anyway, we're glad you're here. If you are here, say hello in the chat.
I said pumpernickel in the chat.
Or that. And then one of us will be monitoring the chat because OBS apparently updated.
And we have to remember what our password is.
Yeah. Which I do not. So, we have quite a bit to talk about this week. And we have some life updates to go through as well. So we're going to start off with Psych Night. Psych Night. Someone in the chat.
Elijah's there. Hey, Elijah.
Oh, well, hello.
Enjoy your beers while you wait to get picked up from trivia hosting. I hope you had some really awesome facts today. And then Hillary's asking how Lily's doing. So, side note, we'll get it out of the way. I am doing like 2,000% better. I fully recovered from pneumonia. I'm trying to get back into exercising again. It's hard. And then Lily got pneumonia, but she's recovering way faster than I did. And she's basically back to herself now that we have found an antibiotic that works.
Yes. It was a bit scary for a bit, but just going through the different antibiotics, it was actually just 2 different antibiotics. I don't want to make it seem like it was more than that, but yeah, so she was sick. She missed almost a week of school. So
Over a week of school.
Yeah. Elliot missed a day, but he literally just had the sniffles.
Yeah.
So he was up all night.
It was more, he didn't sleep, and we did not want to send a tired Elliot to preschool, which we'll get into later.
Yeah, so Psych Night. The other day, I had the awesome opportunity to attend MadTree Brewing's Psych Night, which, if you don't know MadTree Brewing, it's one of the biggest craft beer breweries here in Cincinnati, Ohio.
I'd say top 3.
I think top 2.
Sam Adams, Renge, MadTree. Sam Adams counts. We don't like that Sam Adams counts sometimes, but Sam Adams
I just don't know.
count.
I don't know that it does.
They brew beer in Cincinnati. We are the only city.
Yeah, you can personally count them, but I'm like I subscribe to the Business Courier and they do their lists. I don't think they had Sam Adams on their list.
I will say there is a beer magazine, journal, something that has a list of the top 50 breweries in the country, and Cincinnati is, I think it's Cincinnati and Asheville But I actually think it's just Cincinnati. Cincinnati is the only city where you can walk to 2 different breweries that are in the top 50. Asheville, I think you have to drive or take a bus.
All right. Well,
So
whichever. Matt,
MadTree is definitely up there. MadTree is the one that I prefer out of the 3 of them.
okay. Completely not my point at all, but which makes this very not clippable, but which is what we're trying to do. But
Psych night.
yeah, so I had the opportunity to go to MadTree Brewing's Psych Night, and MadTree is a really big brewery here in Cincinnati, Ohio. One of the top 3, as Caroline mentioned, as we think anyway.
Mm-hmm.
One of the OGs as far as craft beer. When I think OG, I think Listerman, and then Braxton, and then so Braxton, MadTree, and Rheingeist. They all pretty much started at the same time. Listerman and Mount Carmel, they were like phase 1.
Mm-hmm.
And they just they didn't really, I don't want to say they didn't take off, but they've always been smaller, like the neighborhood bar.
They have made different
Size.
financial decisions.
Right. MadTree and Rheingeist, they blew up, and they're regional, and Braxton, that's a different.
They have the Kelsey Bros now.
Well, no.
But technically they don't, because
do not.
they still it's complicated. But yeah, so like Listerman decided they were only going to buy what they could with cash in hand. MadTree was like all the fermenters, and Rheingeist was like more fermenters. all the fermenters.
Yeah, so that's how so MadTree I consider like one of the OGs that started the whole craft beer movement in like 2013. And not that there wasn't a craft beer movement before that, but it seemed that really that year, that time frame, like right after the Ohio law passed.
It was
MadTree,
right during that.
Yeah. So MadTree, Rheingeist, Braxton, they all took off. So there's a lot of nostalgia that comes along with MadTree. A lot of nostalgia that comes with, all of those breweries, but especially MadTree. I remember going to 1.0, and they purchased a freaking airplane hangar in Oakley.
It's pretty cool.
And they remodeled it, and they hosted last Friday a event that they called Psych Night, which was a celebration of one of their core beers, Psychopathy, which is an IPA. It's a West Coast IPA.
That sounds right.
Well, I'm assuming it's West Coast because it's not hazy. But it's one of the very first IPAs I've ever had. And they've been selling it ever since. Over 10 years. They just celebrated 10 years in February, I think. I believe 10 years. I'm sure Elijah will correct me if I'm wrong. But
they just call it an India Pale Ale. A staple beer to keep stocked in the fridge. This reliable IPA bursts with bright citrus flavors, followed by a smooth finish. Psychopathy is the go-to option for any day, especially the ones hanging out with friends. You looked at me weird. It is capital P, lowercase.
I know what it is. So they redesigned the packaging and the branding on this. One of their core beers that they've had since the beginning, which if you've been in business as a brewery, trends change, tastes change. It's very difficult to have. It's not very common to have, the same product as when you started. So if you're in business that long, sometimes things change, sometimes things get adjusted. You just mentioned Sam Adams. Sam Adams redid their Boston Lager recently. So recipes change. They haven't really done that to psychopathy in the last 10 years that they've been here. So it needed a refresh, needed a rebrand. And they wanted people to get excited about this beer. And they hosted a big party, and they invited some of our fellow podcasters and bloggers and
craft beer influencers,
or just food influencers. Yeah. So they invited us to a happy hour, and we got to tour the brewery, which was really cool. Because I don't think I've seen behind the scenes at the Oakley location.
I toured 1.0, but that was 1.0.
Yeah.
Many, many moons ago.
Yeah. What does Elijah say?
Oh, he hasn't said anything about Psych Night yet.
Ah.
So, and then it was Psych. We reserved a spot for 2, but I couldn't go because I stayed home with kids to make sure the kids were recovering. But it was fun seeing all the photos.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a couple reels about that and the new packaging and the behind the scenes tour. I did a little sneak peek of that as well.
It gave me vertigo, but it was really cool.
Yeah, I'm exploring different things. I've never done. I had to do all that on my phone. It wasn't fun. I would rather do it on the computer, but I guess I'm showing my age. I don't know.
Well, there's like a thing where like Gen Z and younger, they'll do stuff on whatever, like as far as like their phone or their laptop, whereas millennials are like, I have small screen activities and I have big screen activities.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be a big screen activity.
Yeah. Just so I can see everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun. It was fun talking to the staff at MadTree, the different influencers. Gnarly Gnome was there. Julia and Marco from Truth Beer and Podsequences was there. Blake the Brewery Explorer, Zach Harley. I forget her name, but Beers Not
for Boys. Yeah, Diamond Bell.
Diamond, yeah.
She's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess she didn't get the memo that you could go into the brewery. So she kind of just came and left.
It's all good.
I saw her for like 2 seconds. And then we got a group picture, and the Gnarly Gnome was holding the psychopathy box. Crazy. It was pretty funny.
Label to camera. Uh-huh. I got to work on teaching that to the kids as I'm having them model some things that I'm making.
Yeah. So that was Psych Night. It was really fun. We really appreciate it, MadTree. Thank you for inviting us. Maybe one day we will be able to come together to one of your invites.
Yeah, and I don't know. I need to ask the group chat. So we got 2 messages from MadTree before the event. The first one was like a standard, like, hey, we're excited to see you. Make sure you wear closed-toed shoes. And then like 3 minutes later, we get another message like, hey, BT dubs, kids are not allowed on the brew deck. So like, and that's where the whole thing is happening. So I don't know if we're the only ones that got that message or if everybody got that message. We had zero intentions of bringing the kids with us. Though the comment was made, just throw them in a pack and play and they'll be fine. But
but speaking of beer, we forgot to mention what we are drinking.
Wait. The drinking in honor of Shift Beers officially retiring.
Was that fake news?
They seem pretty serious about it. Chris said they had podcast equipment for sale, but it also was Chris that said that, and Chris is pretty flaky, so.
But they released an episode after that.
That was a lost episode.
Ah.
They found the lost episode and then they released it.
I haven't listened. I haven't had time to listen to it.
Yeah.
But we are drinking something. This is an Indianapolis beer from a brewery called Deviate Brewing.
Yeah, the one where I drank a whole case while Joe was in the car with kids.
Yeah, allegedly. It is called Contact Nap.
Which was very fitting for the Indianapolis trip.
It's a coffee imperial stout, and it is 10.6%.
Did you realize that when you got it out of the fridge?
I did.
Okay. As soon as I saw they had a beer named Contact Nap and the sample of it was good, I was like, I have to get this because literally the day before was just complete Contact Nap with Elliot.
Yeah, so it's really smooth. I'm just trying to keep up because you keep buying 10% beers.
We will see if I open up another beer. I am currently drinking a Cincy Reigns. No, Cincy Light. Cincy Light, the beer from Rheingeist that supports Cincy Reigns.
Yes.
One day I will get that right on the first try. I don't have a can to look at, so I'm all doing it by memory. So that was topic 1. We have a lot to cover because stuff has happened. So a few weeks ago at this point, I get added to a group chat. I mean, it's a group chat that I'm already in, but it is a group chat with me, Joe, and our friend Matt. For those of you who do not know, which most people probably don't, I was an orchestra dork in high school. I played the violin. I was with the orchestra. We weren't band nerds. Meanwhile, Joe and Matt both played with LaSalle's marching band. Fortunately,
And concert band.
And jazz band and pep band.
Yeah.
If there was a band at LaSalle, they played in it together, basically. So
what's the difference between concert band and orchestra? Just the strings.
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while, we would, like, the Christmas concert, and I want to say maybe, like, the spring concert, too. We would do a song with the band, like the concert band. But
we used to play with Macaulay's band, or orchestra.
Mm-hmm. So,
like, once a year.
In this group chat, I am brought into this conversation because I am in this group chat. Fortunately, mostly because Joe shares most of the name with his dad, we think that Joe's high school forgot who he was / thinks that his dad's contact information is his contact information because they don't designate letters. I'm not sure. But Joe's dad got an email and Matt got an email from LaSalle Marching Band saying, hey, our marching band is small but mighty this year. It would be really great if for homecoming next Friday, we had a bunch of alumni band members join them to help fill out the band and show them that, like, they have a lot of support and stuff like that. So Joe and Matt are conversing about this and how they haven't pulled out their instruments in years. Meanwhile, I am trying to figure out how to convince them to both play in the band again, because this sounds like a lot of fun and a lot of content, which it is, but I have to do something with it. It's still just sitting on my phone. So Joe makes the comment that he'll do it if I start a poll on the Craft Parenting Podcast page.
I think my words were, I would consider it.
It was, I would consider it. But I also said I would throw in the children to help guilt him into doing it. And they attempted to. So I put up a poll
And I did say that I did not think my clarinet was playable.
He did say he did not think his clarinet was playable, but we thought we had 2 clarinets in the house and one of them might be playable. So I was
More playable.
Yeah, more playable. So I was also looking up clarinet rentals and how much that would cost. So we very quickly get 20 votes in like 10 minutes. And because Joe said it has to be by the end of the day. Didn't give a time, just said end of the day. So I think it was midnight, or was it like 8 p.m. or something like that?
End of the day is like close of business. I don't know.
Yeah. So
that's what I think.
Timeline didn't matter though. So I shared it a few places that like Joe was involved. And then I was like, things aren't moving fast enough for me. I'm going to post this in one of my mom's groups. And then like 2 minutes after I get this, Joe sends a message to the group. Facebook is stupid. Some waitress just voted in our poll. And I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, I know exactly why that happened. And then like 5 minutes later, there were like 40 votes. And I was like, oh, hey, look, the people in my mom's group are coming in clutch. A few of them became invested.
Not your mom's group.
Not a mom's group of which I am a part of. I only shared it in the cool moms group. I didn't share it in the stuffy moms group. There is a difference. But one of them has a kid that's at LaSalle, and so she was super excited about it. I also told people like, hey, share this so maybe more alumni will find out about it and they will come. We got 200 votes, right? It's 200 something, I think.
I think it was more than that. But
we definitely, it doesn't super matter. We definitely exceeded our goal. Once we hit past 50, once we got really close to 50, I could tell that Joe was starting to figure out, oh no, what we gonna do? And so then I started poking Matt to see how I could get him to come too. But unfortunately, Matt was not willing to rearrange his schedule. He said he needed 10,000 votes in order to join. So I get the votes. I find 2 or 3 places I can rent a clarinet from and get it the same day. But it was going to be a little bit more money than I had anticipated, which I mean makes sense because these are like monthly rentals that you're paying for. But I'm fairly confident I can find our clarinet, Joe's clarinet in the house. It took me a day more than I thought it would to find it, but I did find it. So I pulled Joe's clarinet out and I set it on his chair while he was in the bathroom. And he walks into the office and he's like, seriously? And so then I bring it downstairs and I pull my violin out. And instead of working on dinner, I just play my violin in the kitchen because I figured out, oh, hey, I can still tune it. Oh, hey, I mostly remember, like muscle memory isn't completely gone on how to play this thing. And hey, I can still mostly read music, I think. I mean, it sounds like what I think it's supposed to sound like. So I'm doing okay. And Lily's on the other side of the table doing some craft stuff. And anytime I pause, because I'm like looking for another song where I have the melody for most of it, or I kind of remember it so I can make sure that I'm playing the right thing, Lily's like, Mommy, why you stop? Play more violin and bow music.
Is that what she called it?
That is what she called it. Because I needed my violin and my bow to make the music. So I was having a lot of fun playing music in the kitchen. And then Joe came downstairs and I'm like, oh yeah, we need dinner. I had gotten some reeds from a local music shop in Harrison. And Joe attempted to play it before dinner and it didn't really work. And I was like, well, maybe it's just a pressure kind of thing. We'll wait till after dinner and see what happens once the kids are in bed. And all the pads are shot. Joe can't play a single note on it. It's just all the same tone, no matter what he's doing with his clarinet.
Yeah.
So I made another attempt to find the second clarinet that we thought that we had in the garage, and I couldn't find it. But we were very determined that we were going to go to homecoming no matter what. Unfortunately, around the same time as well was when Lily started to get sick. So the focus had to kind of fall away from homecoming and turn more into what are we going to do about Lily? Because I think it was on Tuesday that I found the instruments. I found his clarinet. On Wednesday, I went with the kids to the spirit shop, and I got myself / Lily a sweatshirt and Joe a polo. So he would have some gear to wear and I would have something to wear. And then Thursday, while we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, Lily popped a fever and we're like, oh no, this might change everything.
Yeah, that was the beginning of it.
Yeah, that was the beginning of
her pneumonia.
Yeah, what is going on with Lily? And it took a few days to figure it out.
It was like a week after you got better. So it had nothing to do with you.
It was a week after I was like completely better. So I don't know.
You were on the Z-Pack, which is antibiotics.
Yeah.
And they say if you're on antibiotics, you're not contagious.
Yeah. And like I was in a car with him for 5 hours and he didn't get anything. So I don't know if it was just we both got some virus that turned into pneumonia or what. But she did a lot better with it than I did. So.
Yeah. I don't know how easily like bacterial infections spread.
I have no idea either. I'm not a doctor. I am a mom.
I'm sure if you cough in my face, it'll spread, but
Lily and Elliot are really good at that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's fun. So
viruses are easy to spread. I know that.
Usually, yeah. So I had already purchased 2 tickets because the kids did not need tickets to get in because they were young enough. And so we were figuring out, this was the start of Elliot gets only child treatment for like a week and a half. I think he was hating it by the end of it.
Why is that?
Because the last event that I took him to by himself, where it was just me and him, he didn't want to get out of the van. And I said, Bud, you're going to have fun with all your friends. And he said, I don't want to have fun without my sister. And then closed the door to the van and locked it. So I had to get into the van, unlock the doors, and yoink him out of the van because I was like, Bud, no, it's too hot for you to hang out in the van by yourself.
When was that?
On Saturday when we went to the fireside chat.
Okay.
Yeah, he was pretty adorable.
You didn't tell me you closed the door.
He closed the door. So we put out a call to family. We're like, hey, who wants to hang out with Sicky Butt Lily, or who wants to go to the LaSalle game with Joe and Elliot? Fortunately, we only have one kid's shirt for LaSalle gear. So Elliot got to wear that. I don't know what we would have done if both kids went. Probably put one of them in Red's gear. I wore a 50 West shirt because at least it would be red. Because
it was too hot to wear the sweatshirt that you bought.
It was way too hot to wear the sweatshirt that I bought.
Do they not have a polo?
I didn't want a polo.
Okay.
So, fortunately, my mom said that she would hang out with Lily. And so the 3 of us go to the LaSalle game. We have a lot of fun. The band is very tiny, but alumni did show up and more than doubled the size of the band. So that was really cool. Elliot was at first very scared of the Lancer and then gave the Lancer a high five. That was fun. We ran into our friends, Mark and Katie, and their daughter. So Elliot got to hang out with her for a little bit. And we all left about the same time because it was witching hour for the toddlers. And if you ask Elliot what his favorite things about that day were, it was Skyline, pretzel, and ice cream.
That's true. We went out to eat at Skyline.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
We went out to eat at Skyline beforehand, and he was a grumpy butt because we had to wake him up, and he does not like to wake up. And so then once he had some Skyline in his belly, he was a happy camper. And then...
cheese and
cheese and noodles. That's like peak.
I don't know that he ate the noodles, did he?
He did eat the noodles. He mostly played with them, but he did eat some. And then I told the boys to go pick out a snack. And of course, Elliot picked out a pretzel as big as his head. And because it was Joe's birthday weekend, we stopped at Grader's on the way home so we could get some ice cream. And that was also a little bit of bribing to keep Elliot at the game.
And they didn't let me get my sundae.
No. But then when we went to check out, they're like, hey, do you want to use your sundae? And we're like, oh, we didn't get a sundae because we didn't think that we could. I got it later in the week. And I bought Joe a pint as a thank you for letting me eat your sundae.
You get it every year.
I do. So I recorded some video. I took some pictures. I need to make a reel or two of Joe going back home for homecoming. The important thing is that we're going to figure out whether or not #brothersforlife is true, because we have lots of photos of Elliot in Lancer's gear and with Lancer's stuff that will either be used to prove that that's true, or when he goes to graduate from Elder, those are the only pictures that I'm going to print out for his graduation party.
Basically.
Yeah, maybe I'll put other photos behind it. So it's like, hey, look, everything's Lancers. And then like 20 minutes later, I can switch it all to Elder stuff. But it's a possibility that it will be used to annoy him when he is a teenager. Look, bud, remember that time when you high-fived the Lancer and you thought he was the coolest thing ever? Now you're a Panther. That's annoying.
I mean, that's the better mascot. If you're going just on mascots.
I don't know. I mean, purple's Lily's favorite color, so
Yeah.
we got that to deal with.
And green is Elliot's favorite color. So that's like oppositely. Because Seton is the girls' school and that's green.
Well, so at least with if Lily goes to Seton, because technically Mercy doesn't exist anymore. It's Mercy McCulley. It still keeps with the tradition, because Joe's grandma went to Mercy, his mom went to Seton, his sister went to Mercy, and then Lily would go to Seton. So it'd be like an every other generation kind of thing.
I guess so.
Even though the schools do not. I mean, they mostly get along, but it's high school. That's what you do. I think at one point during a St. X Coleraine game, one of the chants was, "We've got girls."
Yeah.
Because we did.
Yeah. No comment on the St. X thing.
Yeah. So
Because we're very family friendly here, and I don't want to grind any gears. All of the doctors are St. X grads, so you don't want to piss them off.
So I had a co-op that went to St. X, and I mean, I attempt to mildly humble the co-ops that need to, because sometimes they've got a head that's bigger than it needs to be. So I razz them up sometimes. Ooh. And
It's sticky.
at one point I let slip that I graduated from Coleraine, and he was like, "That's why you don't like me." And I'm like, "No, you're a co-op. Like this is a pretty typical co-op engineer relationship." And I said something like, "Well, like your dad, the doctor, lawyer, or accountant." And he's like, "My dad isn't any of those things." And I'm like, "Okay, what's your dad do then?" "He sells medical supplies." It's doctor adjacent. You're pretty close, man.
Medical.
So, I mean, in Cincinnati, anybody asks you where you went to school, your usual first response is where you went to high school. And I can usually tell quite a bit about you based on where you went to high school. Most of it's usually true.
All right, moving on.
So moving on. Our next topic is Oktoberfest.
Yeah, so earlier in August, we went to Germania. I believe we already talked about that.
Well, you and Lily went to Germania.
You were sick.
I was sick. I stayed home.
Yeah. So that was like the beginning of the sickness. Germania is always the beginning of Oktoberfest season. It's typically the week before Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
So Lily and I did that. I danced. It was good. Usually it's unbearably hot, or more accurate, I guess, unbearably humid.
Mm-hmm. It's usually both. It's not
It's hot and humid.
Yeah, it's usually a toss-up between Kolping Schützenfest and Germania's Oktoberfest as to which one I am the most miserable at.
Well,
Just because of temperature. Like, it's a fun party, and I enjoy the party.
yeah,
But once you're done dancing, there is 0 ways to cool off,
yeah,
other than drinking lots of beer.
and well, they Schützenfest moved to June, but yeah, it used to be mid-July.
Yeah.
And July isn't typically humid. It's hot.
It just gets really hot.
We would always perform on Sunday at 9 o'clock. So it was dark. The sun was setting. We performed late at Schützenfest Friday.
We performed at Schützenfest twice, I thought. Once as the Schuhplattlers and once as the youth group.
Yeah, the youth
Back
group.
in the olden times.
Yeah, when we were doing that, we performed Friday at 9 and then in the afternoon on Sunday after the
shooting. So it'd be like, hey, everybody needs to get here at 2 to dance at 2:30. And then at 2:30, we'd all be standing around watching like 2 guys trying to get the last little twig or last little toothpick of wood off the stand. And then they'd have to do all their parade stuff. And then we could finally dance.
I was so that's different. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. Like you said, they're both fun events. But it's slightly different as far as like culture goes. So we did Germania. Are you getting a beer?
Yes.
I should have lined one up for you.
It's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we did the Germania, and then she's crawling on the floor. Getting a beer from the beer fridge.
I wasn't at Germania. You can talk about Germania.
I mean, Germania was Germania. We had a beer or whatever, and then we went home. My dad came as well.
Larry was there too.
With my sister and Larry, my father-in-law. So then the next Oktoberfest that we performed at was downtown Cincinnati Oktoberfest.
Cincinnati.
Yes. And they had a new location this year, which was along the river in not Smale Park.
Yeatman's Cove. Yeah, Yeatman's Cove in Smale Park.
Okay. So, yeah, so Yeatman's Cove is what I was thinking. It was a different experience than the 5th Street Fountain Square version of Oktoberfest, which was just a sea of people.
Best experience ever this year.
And then a very different experience from the 2nd and 3rd Street experience as well, which was less people because there was 2 streets, but it was still pretty crowded. We haven't been since probably 2016.
I went for a bachelorette party, but we only hung out at Oktoberfest for a hot second. We mostly hung out on the banks. Or at the banks.
Yeah. But yeah, Yeatman's Cove, if you're not familiar with it, it's along the river. So if it's going to be hot like it was this year, the coolest spot is along the river.
And there's lots of trees to provide shade.
And there's it's shaded too. Yeah. That's a big thing because 2nd and 3rd Street, it's just direct sun. It's awful.
It was not fun.
5th Street, at the very least, you had the tall skyscrapers blocking the sun. It was still hot. It was still one street. So it was just a sea of people.
And the lines would usually run into each other. So
and everything was on top of each other. So it was...
You never knew exactly what line you were in. You just ask the people in front of you, this is the line for this, right? And they're like, I hope so, because that's why I'm in the line.
Yeah, so this was spread out and it was shaded and there were like different zones. So we performed at the old Shakespearean amphitheater.
Yeah, the Schott Amphitheater, which was at the very far end of the fest from the ballpark.
Yeah, so no, I mean, that was like also the downside. Like, it wasn't like there were different zones.
Yeah, we weren't in the middle of the action.
Yeah,
but it was a concrete floor that had a grass berm, so we knew we didn't have to worry about people trying to join us on the dance floor, because and that we would know where the lines are for the dance floor, because historically we've had the problem of dance floor shrinkage, where maybe there is a designated dance floor, but the crowd gets so close to it or starts to get on it that we don't really have a ton of room. Or it's just not like there isn't a dance floor, but we're in front of a stage, so we have to like try to move people back so we have enough room to dance, and then they might start moving forward while we're dancing, because we have 4 different dance groups that perform, and they're all different sizes of like different numbers of people. So like when the kids are on the floor, they don't they do not take up as much space as the shoe plowers do, or the youth group.
Yeah, we had quite a few couples as the shoe plowers. I would say probably 10. 10 at the least.
Oh, 10 at the least for sure.
Yeah, so probably a little bit more than that, maybe 12.
Yeah. So it was nice because since it was an amphitheater, we had amphitheater seating, so you didn't have to worry about like how close you were to us to be able to see us. The weather was pretty decent. It was a little warm, but then the clouds came and we got like a sprinkling of rain, but not enough to really make us miserable. Because we were there on Sunday, some beer options were limited, but there were like 3 or 4 Sam Adams tents, and like one tent only had 2 beers, but like the other tent allegedly had all the beers because they didn't have anything crossed out. So it might have just been this tent ran out of the kegs, but this tent did not.
The only thing, I mean, we were with the kids, so
we were with Elliot.
We were with Elliot. Yeah, that's right. Lily stayed home.
It was the last event that I told Lily she would have to miss.
Yeah, that's right. So we were with Elliot and my sister, and we didn't really get to explore it as much as I would have liked to. But I do remember going to downtown Oktoberfest and getting Great Lakes Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
I remember one year I was very frustrated because I waited in line and probably 10 minutes, I waited in line and I asked for Great Lakes Oktoberfest because that is my favorite Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
At least it was my first like craft beer experience with Oktoberfest. I don't know that it's my favorite now, but from a nostalgia perspective, it is my favorite. So I waited in line probably 10 minutes, and then they gave me an IPA and charged me the $20 or whatever it is.
Yeah, the ridiculous amount that it was to. You probably got a liter of it too.
I did, yeah.
Because we normally walk around with our own steins.
And I'm not a huge fan. Nothing against Great Lakes, IPA or whatever. I think it was Burning River. I think that's what they call it. That's like a pale ale. But anyway, it wasn't Oktoberfest. It was very clear to me it was not Oktoberfest, which is sweet and malty and smooth. This was bitter and not smooth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and so
it was very different.
To continue on the theme of Oktoberfest disappointment in beverages, most of the Schwabes, a fair number of the Schwabes will carry around a plastic stein from event to event. One, because it's a way to advertise if you have a Dona Schwaben mug that, oh, hey, yeah, our Oktoberfest is coming up too. You should come to that. And our buddy had a full liter of a drink, and he was like, oh yeah, this tent poured me a full liter. And I was like, sweet. Okay. I'm going to get a beer there. I will get the Radler because it's only like 2.5%. So it'll be a nice, like, cool down, not get you messed up drink. Joe wanted an Oktoberfest, so I got him an Oktoberfest. And while I was saying that I wanted my Radler, I swear, Joe's sister said, I want one of those too. So I get her a cup of the grapefruit beer because she didn't have a stein. And I go to hand it to her, and she's like, oh yeah, I can hold this for a bit. And then she's like, and I'm like, no, that's yours. And she's like, I wanted water. And I look at the sign and I look at her and I'm like, it's 2.5%. It's basically water. And so then for the next half hour, she's complaining about how she asked for water and her sister-in-law handed her a beer because her sister-in-law thinks that beer is water. And I'm like, I don't think that beer is water. I think that 2.5% beer is close enough to water that it's basically the same thing if you're over the age of 21. Because how many of those things would you have to drink to even feel a buzz?
I'm trying to think. Is 3.2 beer? Is that basically?
That's 3.2%.
3.
This is even less than that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
I basically paid for grapefruit juice that a liter of grapefruit juice that maybe had a shot in it. Like maybe there was a shot in that whole liter.
Yeah, so she didn't get a liter though.
No, she only got a cup.
Yeah. So in the 70s, if you were 18, you could drink what they call 3.2 beer.
Yeah.
And it was 3.2% ABV. And this was 2.5%.
Yeah. It was really tasty though, but I mean, it's basically grapefruit juice. It's like wheat grapefruit juice.
Yeah, it's half juice. That's what a Radler is.
Yeah.
Typically you do lemonade, but I guess Americans like grapefruit or something.
I don't know, because Stiegel's got that grapefruit that everybody loves too. I got so many pictures of girls at our wedding carrying that can around.
A lot of people like it, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I was in Germany, I had the first time, and I was, technically underage or whatever in America, but of age in Germany. I drank Radlers at the festival, and it was, I don't know, Radlers, but just a Radler. Mm-hmm. And it was lemonade, half Weizen.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to see.
It was good. It was July in Germany, so it was hot. It was refreshing. So going off of the Oktoberfest theme, as you can probably guess, we're very involved with Oktoberfest season. Next week, we are going to be at Sonder Brewing in Mason, Ohio.
That is September 28th, 2024.
Yes.
We will be dancing at Sonder at 3:30.
Yes.
The goal is to have both kids there with us, so they will not be dancing, at least officially, Lily will be tearing up that dance floor anytime that we are not using it to officially dance.
Yes.
I can almost 100% guarantee that. So we're going to be at Saunders Oktoberfest, September 28th. That's looking to be a good time. I don't know if they still have spots open for their 5K. We are not doing their 5K because they have a 5K that morning.
Yes.
Don't know how long we're going to be there. The goal is as long as possible. But we're going to be coming off an event immediately before that. So we'll see how the kids do.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then
this is probably a bad idea.
It's going to be, the kids love Oktoberfest. What's going to be a bad idea is our current plan for Donauschwaben Oktoberfest, where the kids show up and then leave early. Y'all might not be leaving early. So Donauschwaben's Oktoberfest, which is the best fest in the west side of Cincinnati. Because west side. Thank you.
Is Coleraine West Side?
It's debated.
Is that part of Coleraine West Side?
I feel like
Coleraine High School, maybe you could argue that.
So there is an argument that it's the west side of 75 inside the 275 loop. And technically the Donauschwaben is not inside the 275 loop, but I can see the 275 loop from the Donauschwaben, so I think it counts. If there weren't any trees there. Or houses.
You cannot see the highway. What is going on?
Fake news. So it's October 4th, 5th, and 6th. Come visit us at the merchandise booth. The current plan is that I will be dancing on Friday. Lily will dance on Saturday. We're all going to dance during the parade on Saturday with our respective groups. Well, Lily, Joe, and myself. Next year, Elliot gets to dance too. Saturday night, Joe and myself will be dancing, and then Sunday, Lily will be dancing, and then Joe and myself will be dancing in the evening. That is the current plan.
Yes.
And so the Donauschwaben has over 35 beers on draft. Yeah. One of them is Miller Lite. Everything else is a craft beer or a German beer.
And Fretboard Light.
Well, yeah, so that's a craft beer.
I know.
I need to...
We did a whole video. We did a whole segment about Fretboard Light.
We did. Should I read through the beer list? Yes, no. It's long.
You can if you want.
Okay, so light options. They have Bitburger Pills, Hocker Schor Munich Gold, Hofbrau Original, Koenig Ludwig Lager, Paulaner Lager, Paulaner Pills, Spaten Lager, Stiegel Goldbrau, Warsteiner Pills, Braxton Bavarian Lager, Fretboard Light, Fretboard Schwaben Lager, and for those of you who need it, Miller Lite. Their wheat beers are Erdinger Hefe, Fretboard Hefe, and Paulaner Hefe. The other beers are Schofferhofer Grapefruit.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's grapefruit beer.
Grapefruit beer.
And Fretboard Reba. The dark beers are Erdinger Dunkel, Hocker Schor Dunkel, Hofbrau Dunkel, Koenig Ludwig Dunkel, Kostricker Black, Warsteiner Dunkel, Weinstefaner Dunkel, Fretboard Dunkel. And then the just straight Oktoberfest beers are Bitburger Fest Beer, Hocker Schor Oktoberfest, Hofbrau Oktoberfest, Paulaner Oktoberfest, Spaten Oktoberfest, Warsteiner Oktoberfest, Weinstefaner Festbier, Braxton Oktoberfest, and Fretboard Oktoberfest. I make zero apologies if I pronounced any of those wrong, because that's how the Schwabes pronounce it, so it's right.
What's going to be your first beer at Oktoberfest? Donauschwaben Oktoberfest.
Probably the Koenig Ludwig Lager. Because I always try to get Koenig Ludwig at least once.
We like the wheat one.
We do.
But they don't have that.
They do not have that this year. Usually they have it at Kolping.
Schützenfest.
Yeah, Schützenfest. Which we did not go to this year because I think we were out of town.
They changed it. It's the same weekend as Schwabenfest or something.
I think it's like the weekend after, but we were out of town for both of those weekends pretty much. Fretboard Schwabenlager is probably going to be my, I just need an easy beer kind of thing. Because that's a very good beer. The original recipe was done by Rivertown, but now Fretboard makes it for us. And then I'll probably try to get through a few different Oktoberfests if I can. Normally what I do is I just get a half liter so I can
so it doesn't
finish
it
it.
doesn't go flat or get warm.
Yeah. Now, as a volunteer, that's very easy for me to do. Otherwise, you'd have to like buy a glass and pour it in.
No, we pay for all of our beer.
We pay for all of our beer.
It's illegal to get free beer.
We have free beers yesterday.
No, we don't get free beer.
Or no, we have free beer tomorrow. That's the thing. And the sign always says free beer tomorrow.
Yes.
So and tomorrow never comes.
Yes.
That is how that works.
Okay, moving on before we get certain organizations' liquor license removed. What else are we talking about? Back to school?
Yes. Because school's not out for the summer.
No,
Because it's fall.
It's
and
in.
it's in now. Bye, kids. Get out of my house and go hang out with other people.
You're a terrible songwriter.
Wait, can we pause on that for a second? I was going to write a 6-sentence email. And I said, hey, Joe, can you look at this and maybe like add a sentence or two to it? Joe hands me back my phone with 5 paragraphs on it. Like legit paragraphs where each paragraph is at least 3 sentences. I'm an engineer. I math and I problem solve. I don't do the words.
You don't do the words. No.
That's all you, Boo.
I mean, you have an eye for detail, so that makes you a good editor.
I do like hold on to my editor-in-chief title very tightly. Joe makes all of the content, but I am editor-in-chief. And I
need a
find
second set of eyes, because if you just look at the same stuff that you do, you think you literally, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you think that there are words on the page that aren't there.
Yeah.
Usually articles like of, the, and you just read them. Like if you write a thing and then you edit it and you polish it, you need a second set of eyes.
Oh, for sure. Because I'll catch stuff that he does all the time. If he's having me like go through a blog post or something. And then in the early days when he was doing the Donna Schwaben newsletter, he would have me go over it. And it's like we were both still in college. And then I'd like mark up like 2 or 3 things, maybe. And then he'd come back to me like 20 minutes later after I handed it to him. And he'd be like, you missed this, you missed this, you missed this. Because he had been away from it long enough that he wasn't seeing those things anymore. And then I learned from that what I needed to catch all the time. So I became a better editor-in-chief because of that.
Sure.
That's how that works. So kids are back in school. Well, Lily's back in school.
Lily is in pre-K and Elliot started preschool.
Yep.
Preschool in the 4th class.
3's class.
3's class.
How old is your son?
Well, he's 3, but he's going to turn 4.
He's not going to turn 4 for a hot second. We still got a little bit of time.
I don't know how that works. Okay, so he's in the 3's class. He'll probably go back to preschool next year as well.
Yeah, pre-K.
Is that how that works?
I mean, we can decide, but odds are high he's going to go to pre-K.
Yeah. Okay. Before we do that, do you want to talk about the beer that you just poured?
Oh, yeah, the beer that I poured like 15 minutes ago. I am currently drinking a MadTree Pumpkin Spiced Ale. It is 7.9% ABV, and it is a spiced ale with cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, allspice, and molasses.
Yeah.
It's a beer. It's a can. It's pumpkin.
Is that what it says?
That is what it says on here.
Okay.
I was reading the can.
You can't get mad at us, MadTree. That's what it says on your can.
They get mad at us if I didn't say it.
So preschool.
So Lily,
So just like from a technical perspective, you technically work first shift.
Technically, yes, because I have to be at work by 6 o'clock. And then I get out 2:30.
So 6 to 2.
Yeah.
So that leaves me alone to get 2 toddlers out of bed.
You got this, Bill.
Preschoolers, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We can call them out of bed. And so how is that going, you may ask?
Oh, fantastic. Super amazing. But before we get to that, so what I do with the kids before school starts, well, I did it with Lily and now I do it with both kids, is we discuss whether they want to keep their backpack or get a new backpack. I'm going to have a rule now where you have to have your backpack for at least 2 years. So next year, Lily can decide if she wants to use her Elsa backpack that she picked out this year, or she wants to go back to her unicorn backpack, but she may not buy a new backpack. Unless if your backpack is completely falling apart, you got to use it at least 2 years, or it has to exist at least 2 years. Because I don't want to have to buy a new backpack every year. And I shouldn't have to at this point.
I don't remember if I bought a new backpack.
So
Every year.
I want to
In grade
say
school and
that a
stuff.
few years I did, and it was because we bought crummy backpacks. And then I got into high school and we started using backpacks, not so much. And then I found my backpack from like 3rd grade in a closet that was a weird pink plaid. My mom might still have it somewhere. But like I put duct tape on it and I used that for like a year, ironically, or something. I don't know. I thought it was cool. I used just a messenger bag one year. One year I used my car. My car was my backpack. I parked my car between the buildings, and instead of going to my locker, I would just go to my car between classes to get my stuff.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
No, you're really not supposed to do that, but I did that. Because like my locker was on like the 3rd floor away from everything else that I did or something stupid like that.
My locker was on the 3rd floor.
My car was closer to all of my classes. It was weird. And then like 2 years after I graduated, they made stairwells up stairwells only and down stairwells only. And I was like, that's going to be a mess. And it was a mess. So Lily decided she wanted a new backpack this year, and she got an Elsa backpack that lights up anytime you touch it. And those lights are bright. I'm really waiting for the batteries to die. Oh no, mommy can't replace the batteries. I'm so sorry. She really likes it. That's the important thing. And then Elliot picked out a shark backpack where it's the one from Target where it's got an open mouth with a bunch of little fishies in it. He was so stoked about it when he got it. The kids also picked out new shoes because they get new shoes at the start of the school year. They get to pick out a few pieces of clothing each. So Lily got to pick out like 2. It was like, usually I do like 2 bottoms and like 3 tops.
Yeah.
And then Elliot also got to do that. And then we went through the school supply list. So I'm like, okay, kids, you have to help me find the glue sticks and you have to help me find the markers. And yeah, I know that you want to get these markers, but these markers are the ones that I have to get per your school list. So the kids helped me buy all the stuff. They helped me pick out tissues and stuff as well. You spend way more money than you want to, but it gets the kids excited for the year. And then when we get home, we divvy up the stuff between their backpacks. So like, okay, here, Elliot, here are all of your school supplies to drop off. And Lily, here are all of your school supplies to drop off. And that also makes sure that I stay honest and I remember to put all the supplies that I need to buy in/near their backpacks. So we do that. The kids really like it. They're not allowed to wear their shoes until the first day of school. So like the shoes have to, like, these are your first day of school shoes. It also gets them a little bit excited. Though it did confuse Elliot for a bit because we had to then convince him that he could wear the shoes other places. Cause he's like, no, these are my school shoes. And I'm like, no, bud, we had to wait till school started to start wearing them. Now you can wear them almost all the time. But if we're going to do something that's super messy, you may not wear them because they need a pair of shoes that stay nice. I might have accidentally bought the kids' shoes that are a smidgen too big, but I think I had to buy Lily a pair of shoes halfway through the school year last year. So she's going to be fine. It's fine. I also might have just bought her new dance shoes that are 2 sizes bigger than those. I do not remember. I either went 1 size up or 2 sizes up.
Well, she can't wear them too big.
I know. So I'm going to have to remember what I did. She can still wear her old shoes. They're just not as big on her as I would like them to be. So we missed open house because I was sick. No, I couldn't have been sick yet. Was I sick yet? Maybe I was. Yeah, we did because I was sick. Because open house was the day we came back from Nashville. And I had a fever and we just said, no, we're not going to go. So unfortunately, the kids didn't get to go to open house this year. But Elliot had been to the school before, so we weren't as concerned about it. And we still had to meet the teacher. So to prep the kids for school, we kind of set some stuff aside that's school stuff. As I said before, ideally, we start waking the kids up-ish when they need to start waking up for school, like the week beforehand. We don't really do that usually. Sometimes we remember to, a lot of the times we don't.
It was very chaotic because you were sick.
Yeah, there was only so much that I could do. Like as soon as I got the school supply lists, I bought all the school supplies, which was our saving grace. Because I wasn't trying to buy school supplies while I had pneumonia. Because that would have been a hot mess. Because me going to the store on my own was hard enough. I had 2 trips to the store where I really wished that I could get an electric scooter, and 1 trip where I finally got one. And I was like actually able to go through the whole store and get the random things that we needed because I could go down way more aisles than I could if I just had a cart. So we had Meet the Teacher. The way we did Meet the Teacher was, unfortunately, they do it in the middle of a workday. So I worked from home. I took the kids, and then I went into work. But we scheduled them back to back. It was really cute. So what I do is because we have to drop off our school supplies at Meet the Teacher, or we can drop off our school supplies at Meet the Teacher, I have the kids bring their backpacks. I don't think we did this with Lily her first year, but we didn't really think about it or no. So the kids bring their backpacks to Meet the Teacher. And at Meet the Teacher, like one of the tasks is usually find your cubby. So I'm like, okay, find your cubby and put your backpack and hang it up. And then I like ask the teacher, okay, what things do you want them to do when they put their backpack in there? Like, do you want them to take out their folder and put it in their cubby or anything like that? And we try to go through what tasks they would normally do at school. So Elliot found his cubby, he put his backpack in it, and I'm like, hey, bud, like, let's talk to your teacher for a little bit, but then we're going to do this. Like, let's walk around the room and see what's here. And like, oh, hey, look, there's the bathroom. And he's like, I have to go potty. And then he goes and uses the potty so we can talk about how that works. He goes and washes his hands at the sink so we can make sure that he's able to do the things and he knows how that works as well. He explores the room with his big sister. There was a lemonade stand in there at the time, so they played with the lemonade stand while I'm talking to his teacher. And then as we were getting ready to wrap up with his teacher to then go upstairs to talk to Lily's teacher, Elliot's like, I have to go potty. And I'm like, I look at Lily and I'm like, hey girl, you think you can get yourself to your classroom? And she's like, yeah. 2 seconds after she left the room, I heard her ask someone, but she knew what to do. So she went upstairs to go see her teacher because it was the same teacher that she had when she was in the 3s class. And I finished up with Elliot, and then Elliot and myself went upstairs to meet with her and her teacher. And like, she had already put her backpack in her cubby. She was already hanging out with the stuff. Like, she already had her clipboard in her hand and was doing her scavenger hunt because her teacher had a scavenger hunt for her to do where you like check off all the little hearts. Once you like figure out where your teacher is, where the bathroom is, where the garbage can is, where are the blocks? Where's where's the carpet? So she was already a good way through that by the time we got it upstairs. And then I just chatted with her teacher for a bit to catch up with her. And then the kids played and they were super chill, like with the whole experience, which was good. The way it worked this year, and I was 50-50 split on what to do with this, and I just decided to keep the schedule as it was. Elliot's first days were Tuesday, Thursday, and Lily's first days were Wednesday, Friday. Mm-hmm. So that meant that even though only one kid was going to school, we had 4 days, like one kid was going each day. We had 4 days of drop off and pickup. And I asked the grandparents and they were fine with that. And part of my intention was because both kids were going to be at the same school and Elliot is very much an introvert. My goal was that Elliot doesn't think that he can just follow his sister and go to her class. He has his class and he's used to his classroom without having to worry about her, like without having to like be like, oh, I'm going to follow my sister and try to stay with her. And like both teachers were like, oh, you could have worked with me and we could have moved him around. And I was like, no, the grandparents were fine with it. I'd prefer it this way, at least for now. So then that way we make sure that there's a firm divide between this is your space and this is your sibling space. Mm-hmm. And that seemed to work out okay. I'm not really involved with drop off though. So.
Well, the biggest challenge is getting both kids up.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was a challenge last year with just Lily.
Well, it's an even bigger challenge with both kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then also taking care of the dogs.
The dogs do not get out of bed when I wake up in the morning.
The grandparents do not come over now. Mm-hmm. Like they used to. They used to come over. Elliot would sleep in. And then Lily and I would get ready, and one of the grandparents would let the dogs out as well. So now I have to take care of not just Lily. Mm-hmm. I have to take care of Elliot, Lily, and then our 2 dogs as well.
You can probably give Lily the dogs to feed. Well, yeah, and you.
Yeah. So I have to take a shower. I have to get ready. I have to feed the dogs, and then I have to get the kids up, and finding that balance of when I need to get up, and because I can't just get up at 6 because you're in the bathroom.
I am usually in the kitchen or out of the house by 6 a.m. So I am not your issue at 6 a.m.
Also, I am not a morning person.
You are not. It's where Elliot gets it from.
Yeah, so I typically get up at like 6:20 or something, and it's usually, I
can shove you out of bed instead of kissing your forehead in the morning. That is an option.
No, I'm good. It's been working out. Caroline has been opening his door.
Well, no. Before I started doing that, though, my favorite part of the morning was when at work I would get the ring notification for there's someone at your front door. And I could tell what kind of morning Joe had based on whether it was Lily going out the door or Lily and Elliot. And occasionally it would be Lily and a floating Elliot in Joe's arms.
Screaming.
Yeah. So I always knew those were good mornings. So after a few of those mornings, I was like, hey, what's been going on? And Joe's like, well, I wake him up at 6:55 and we leave at 7:15. And I'm like,
no, we leave at 7:30.
Yeah, you're supposed to leave at 7:15. And I'm like, Elliot needs 20 minutes to become a person again after he wakes up.
He needs longer than that, actually.
I love him to pieces. Who he is amazing. But that is not someone who can function right after they wake up. So what I started doing a week ago was before I go downstairs to get myself out the door, I open his door and turn off his noise machine. And then I do not try to quiet myself as I'm doing stuff in the kitchen. So like if I accidentally bang something, I bang something. Like I don't purposefully bang things, but I make some noise so he can start to wake up and then maybe trudge his way into our room instead of having to be sat on the potty as his wake up routine.
Which Lily, I was able to do that for Lily, and she coped pretty well.
She did not enjoy that, but she did not complain as much as Elliot does about his easier wake ups. So yeah, because I used to do the morning routine with Lily. All when Lily was in the 3s class, I did her morning stuff. And I want to say I did a little bit of it with the 4s before I changed jobs. That sounds right, based on the timeline. So, actually, maybe not. Maybe I didn't do the 4s at all. I didn't. That was all you. So I did her through the whole 3s class. We mostly got to school on time. I think our on-time percentage was a little bit higher than yours. But it was also one kid who was super excited for school.
We've always gotten to school on time. This year.
I'm very proud of you guys. It was annoying when we moved farther away from school because then it was like, oh no, I need to add another 10 minutes.
Yeah, there are times when I would get there at like 7:55, which is, that's 5 minutes late.
Yeah, well, there was one day.
Technically 10 minutes late.
Yeah, there was one day I got there at like 7:48 or something like that because technically school starts at 7:45. And I'm like apologizing profusely as I'm getting Lily out of the car because one of the preschool people came out. She's like, "Oh, we totally thought you were another mom because she gets here at every time at this time every day." And I was like, "Okay, I don't feel so bad now." When Lily starts kindergarten, she'll have busing, so that'll be a new set of challenges.
I think I'm just gonna drive her.
There is a chance that so we had an interesting week in the west side of Cincinnati. To put a very firm timestamp on this episode, a rail car put some gas into the environment that was not good for anyone, shut down Three Rivers schools for a day, and shut down what will be Lily's school next year and another school as well, because they get busing from Three Rivers. So we had a day where Lily and Elliot got driven to school from Harrison because we played it super safe and spent the night at Joe's parents' house.
Well, we didn't know what was going on.
We didn't. And like the thing was, like, if we had kids in high school, there is a higher chance we would have just stayed at the house and just made sure we stayed in the house.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't even know if that would have been the case.
We got a text message that said evacuate.
Yeah, and didn't have like a radius on it yet as to who was supposed to evacuate.
It was very unclear who was supposed to evacuate.
Yeah. So we had an interesting night of sleeping at Oma and Opa's house. Elliot,
Let's not do that again.
yes, please no.
At least not by choice.
You had the better sleeping arrangement. What are you complaining about? You had a bed. I had a couch with a Clara who was trying to push me off the couch and a Zoe that kept whining to go hang out with her Oma. I let those dogs out 3 times in the middle of the night because Zoe kept whining and I thought she had to go potty. No, she just wanted to go hang out with Oma in the basement.
Oh my God.
Because Oma has all the treats. So
apparently Oma doesn't sleep either.
Yeah. Well, not when your dad's snoring like a chainsaw and I can hear him in the living room. Oh, so we, yeah, that was interesting. But Grandparents' Day was today, and I haven't talked to Joe's parents yet, but I have talked to my mom. And she said that she made a point to talk to the kids' teachers and ask how they were at school. Because she's been having, we've all been having some difficulties with the kids now. Because they've started fighting more and roughhousing a bit more. And they just really don't want to listen. They'll mostly listen to me, but that's because I count to 3. And if we make it to 3 and you haven't done the thing, I will make you do the thing. And I've tried to hold pretty firm to that. Does it always work? No. But we get there in the end. So Elliot is a little angel and plays with everyone and is so sweet and loving. And I'm like, I get it, because he can definitely be like that. But where is that kid 75% of the time when he's home?
And antagonizing his big sister.
Yeah.
He likes to push her buttons.
They both just push each other's buttons.
Yeah, she's not any different.
She is not.
But
and then she talked to Lily's teacher and she said, we're all working on listening and following directions, and it's still early in the school year, so like that at one. So I don't remember whether or not I've said this on the podcast before, but it was so hilarious. I was going through Lily's class list and I told her the name of and I was like, oh, and this kid from your class last year is going to be in there. I don't like him. He doesn't even listen to me. And I'm like, girl, why is he supposed to listen to you? Because I'm the teacher. No, you're not the teacher. You're a student. Oh, you can't just tell people to do things and expect them to do them. Oh, man, I love her to pieces. She is going to change the world and be something fierce. She already is something fierce. I want her to be a strong and independent woman, but not right now.
All right, I think we've exhausted the topics. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Donut Schwaben Oktoberfest, October 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2024. It's usually the first weekend in October, so even if you're listening to this in the future, you should come on out. 30 plus beers on draft every year. This year it's like 35 or 37 or something like that.
Yeah, we get all the leftovers, so sometimes the list changes, so I don't want to make it seem like, this is the list.
There's still time to change, but if anything gets swapped out, it's going to be getting swapped out for something as good or better.
Yeah, we get the leftovers after downtown Oktoberfest, which is why we released the beer list this week. Typically, it's just like one or minor changes, and like you said, they swap it out with an Oktoberfest or an Oktoberfest.
Yeah, because there actually isn't any Sam Adams on here at all. So there's a chance we might get something swapped out for Sam Adams. Or there's a chance that Sam Adams sold out of beer. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know that we had Sam Adams last year. Did we?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
I usually go for the German stuff at Donut Schwaben Oktoberfest.
I usually end up having to go to 4 different beer booths because your mom wants something at one beer booth, your dad wants something at another beer booth. I want something at a third beer booth, and then you're like, get me something good. And I'm like, well, that's way over there. I don't know.
Fretboard Oktoberfest is good.
Yeah.
I really like their beer. Hofbrauhaus is my go-to. Hacker Shore is okay. I do like the German Oktoberfest.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what I go for. If you want to help the show out, if you like this episode, if you want to help us, you can.
Slam that like button, smash subscribe, ring that notification bell.
Yes, and we are really trying to get to 50 subscribers on YouTube. 50 subscribers is the threshold for us to do video and all this stuff. I'm just looking.
We're watching the live stream and it's just
yeah, and 50 subscribers is the threshold to go live via mobile.
I will say this.
Which will require less equipment.
If we get 50 subscribers on YouTube before the Donauschwaben Oktoberfest, we will go live at Donauschwaben Oktoberfest, and it will be chaotic, but it will be lots of fun.
I mean, we could do that on Facebook too, but
I said YouTube.
it has to be YouTube. Yeah,
It has to be YouTube.
YouTube is our video home at the moment. However, you can follow us you can like our page on Facebook. You can follow us on
Instagram, X,
and X,
Rumble, Grumble, Mumble.
Yeah, just Rumble. Yep. And then we have a website too. We should plug the website.
We should. I have like 5 blog posts in my head that are probably never going to happen, but they're up there.
Yeah. It's craftparentingpodcast.com.
Yeah.
So you can find out all the information you want to there.
Well, all the information that we have put there, you can find there. Let's not oversell it.
By the way, I'm Joe. I don't think we introduced ourselves. This is Caroline.
Caroline.
And we are the Craft Parenting Podcast. And we periodically podcast sometimes.
We're trying to get better. The kids don't nap. Or they do nap, and then it ruins all of our plans. They did not nap today, so woohoo!
And I am dubbing this bedtime happy hour.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm halfway through my second beer. That never happens on a weeknight.
So bedtime happy hour. Maybe this will be a thing. I don't know. Let us know if you would tune into a live stream on a Thursday.
Or whatever day of the week the kids fall asleep before 7:30.
We'll try to do it on Thursday.
Okay, we can shoot for Thursdays. Thursdays are not a big schedule day. Fridays are about to become a harder day. Sometimes Tuesdays. Mondays are definitely out.
Thursday or Wednesday would be the thing. But thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Bye. I don't know what that was, but it was fun.